For decades, the American middle class was told a simple promise: get educated, work in a white-collar profession, earn a premium wage, pay your mortgage, build wealth. Artificial intelligence is about to break that contract. Not gradually, not over generations, but within years. If half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappear, the impact won't just be unemployment headlines. It will collide directly with trillions of dollars in mortgages, student loans, pension obligations, and sovereign debt that were built on the assumption that those wages would always exist. This is not a technology story. It is a debt system story. And the question is no longer whether AI will replace white-collar labor. The question is whether a debt-based economy can survive when its wage engine is automated. The global economy is undergoing a definitive and irreversible structural shift, driven by the rapid commercialization of artificial intelligence, effectively decoupling corporate profit generation from human labor. What began as incremental productivity assistance has now crossed into direct cognitive substitution. Artificial intelligence systems that operated at high school comprehension levels only a few years ago are now executing college-level analytical work with increasing autonomy. The Microsoft Artificial Intelligence Chief Executive Officer recently warned that most white-collar jobs could be fully automated within the next 12 to 18 months. In January alone, artificial intelligence was directly attributed to more than 7,600 job cuts in the United States, representing 7% of that month's total corporate layoffs. Globally, hiring for entry-level professional roles has already contracted by 12%. This is not cyclical, it is structural. The Chief Executive Officer of Anthropic has publicly stated that up to half of all entry-level white-collar roles could disappear within the next 1 to 5 years, potentially pushing baseline unemployment into double digits. The critical macroeconomic issue is what happens when collapsing white-collar wage premiums collide with fixed, long-duration debt obligations across households and sovereign balance sheets. To understand the transmission mechanism, we must examine the American household balance sheet. The modern middle class is built on a tripartite debt structure: 30-year mortgages, non-dischargeable student loans, long-term healthcare liabilities. These debts were issued under the assumption of stable, rising cognitive wages. But artificial intelligence is introducing wage deflation into professions that historically commanded premiums: law, finance, software development, consulting, analysis, translation, customer support. Tasks that once required hours of billable human labor are now executed in seconds at near zero marginal cost. If even a 30 to 50% wage compression occurs in white-collar sectors, millions of households will face mathematical stress. A mortgage payment does not shrink because an algorithm replaced your income stream. A student loan does not renegotiate because coding models improved. The system assumes wage continuity. Artificial intelligence introduces wage discontinuity, and discontinuity inside a leveraged system creates fragility. Let's model a breakpoint. If unemployment among white-collar workers rises to 15% and wage compression affects another 20%, aggregate consumer demand contracts sharply. Pension contributions decline, tax revenues weaken, delinquency rates rise. At that point, 3 stress fractures emerge simultaneously. Mortgage delinquency accelerates in highly leveraged metropolitan areas. Student loan default pressure increases despite federal backstops. Pension systems experience funding gaps due to reduced payroll inflows. Governments then face an impossible choice: raise taxes on capital, expand deficits dramatically, or debase currency to prevent systemic default. This is where the debt system begins to buckle. At the sectoral level, capital and labor are diverging. Administrative support, data entry, legal assistance, translation, junior software engineering, and customer support are already experiencing structural contraction. Data entry roles have declined more than 25% over the past decade. AI platforms are projected to automate nearly half of professional translation tasks within 10 years. Meta aims for artificial intelligence to produce 50% of its coding by 2026. Microsoft reports nearly 30% of its code repositories are AI-generated. Meanwhile, capital expenditure on compute infrastructure is exploding. Corporations are redirecting wage budgets toward data centers, GPUs, semiconductor fabrication, and proprietary model training. Profit margins expand not through increased sales, but through reduced human payroll. We are witnessing the rise of technological rent extraction, where value accrues to infrastructure owners rather than wage earners. China is not hesitating. Beijing is integrating artificial intelligence directly into heavy industry, logistics, construction, and manufacturing. Autonomous construction robotics and AI-driven industrial coordination systems are already deployed at scale. China's centralized energy planning provides an additional advantage. Massive solar grids and nuclear expansion are tailored to support compute-intensive data centers. Western nations, constrained by aging infrastructure and decentralized regulatory frameworks, face greater friction scaling energy for artificial general intelligence. The compute race is not optional, it is geopolitical. If the United States slows development, China advances. If China advances, global digital rent flows shift east. For emerging markets, the labor arbitrage model is under threat. 17 million global call center agents, millions of offshore coders, and remote digital workers are exposed. Latin America alone faces up to 2 million customer support roles at risk within 5 years. The export of cognitive labor built middle classes across India and Southeast Asia. Artificial intelligence centralizes that value back into jurisdictions that own compute infrastructure. Growth will continue, but it will concentrate. Emerging economies may see GDP expansion without corresponding wage distribution. That imbalance fuels inequality, not prosperity. For 2 centuries, human labor was the constraint on growth. Now labor is abundant. Energy and compute are scarce. When wages compress, tax bases shrink. When tax bases shrink, debt sustainability weakens. Pension systems depend on current workers funding retirees. If AI removes workers from high-paying roles, payroll tax inflows decline. Governments then resort to monetary expansion to fill gaps. And monetary expansion in a productivity-driven AI economy risks asset hyperinflation alongside wage stagnation, a stagflation paradox of automation. A hollowed-out corporate talent pipeline means fewer trained leaders. A mass of displaced cognitive workers creates political volatility. An economy with falling wages and rising asset prices breeds instability. If inequality rises by even 5 to 15% over the next decade, social cohesion fractures. This is not science fiction. It is math. Over the next decade, the winners are clear. Owners of compute infrastructure, energy producers, semiconductor manufacturers, capital-heavy AI operators. The losers, highly leveraged cognitive workers, pension systems dependent on wage growth, sovereign debt models built on perpetual income expansion. The United States may dominate AI infrastructure globally, extracting digital rents from the world. But domestically, it must confront a shrinking wage base colliding with fixed debt burdens. Artificial intelligence does not simply replace jobs. It forces a restructuring of taxation, sovereign debt sustainability, pension design, and consumer credit architecture. The era where labor reliably paid down long-term liabilities may be ending. At ETN, we move beyond hype cycles and focus on structural consequences. Artificial intelligence is not just a productivity tool, it is a balance sheet disruptor. If you want clear, data-driven analysis of the forces reshaping global macroeconomics, subscribe to ETN, because the next decade will not be defined by innovation alone, but by whether our debt systems can survive it.